Planning a trip to Disneyland Paris but have no idea where to start? Watch this video and you'll be ready to enjoy that magical trip of a lifetime. Hi guys, it's Gio here with Independent Guides, and today we're taking a look at Disneyland Paris and more specifically how to plan your trip. Remember to like and subscribe to help us out if you enjoy this video. So let's get into it. So number one is choose when you want to go. So first, are you going to take any kids with you? And if you are, when can they go? What about you? When do you want to visit? When can you get time off work? If you can avoid the school holidays, do it. If you can avoid the weekends all year round, to be honest, do it. You should especially avoid all the holidays which take place in France. The other thing you want to think about is the weather. Are you fine with colder temperatures or do you want a lot of heat? And lastly, and maybe most importantly, do you want to be at Disneyland Paris for one of their seasonal events? So Disneyland Paris, they dress up the parks for all these extra entertainment seasons. So they do things like Christmas, which runs from November to the start of January. And they have special parades, they have characters, they have seasonal shows, they have fake snow on Main Street, they have garlands, they've got Christmas trees, and sometimes they even have a special fireworks show. Or do you want to go for Halloween? So Halloween runs for all of October. And you can see special decorations, and they've got shows as well. They've even got a special Halloween soiree with extra characters and trick-or-treating and entertainment, and you can dress up. They do things like Guy Fawkes Night, St. Patrick's Day. They've been doing a New Year's Eve party in recent years, and they also do special events for Pride. They've had electronic music events. They do a spring season, a summer season, so there's always something going on. So second thing you want to think about is your budget. So this is a really important one for pretty much everyone, and Disneyland Paris is not cheap. So you're going to need to think about things like how you're going to get to the resort, the accommodation, the park tickets, food, souvenirs, and then any extra things that you want to book as well. Are you making a day trip to Paris? If you go off-peak, out of season, when there are lighter crowds, actually it's going to be cheaper as well. And how long do you want to go for? Number 3, your hotel. So the third thing you want to think about is your hotel. So let's start off with this. Where are you going to stay? Really, you've got two options here. You've got on-site with Disney at a Disney hotel and off-site, so anywhere else. If you're staying at Disneyland Paris, you're going to be staying at one of these 6 official Disney hotels, or they have a campsite called David Crockett's Ranch, and apart from the ranch, they're all right by the parks and you can walk to everything from your hotel room. They also all have shuttle buses, again, except the campsite where you need your own car. And there's loads of advantages of staying at a Disney hotel, but the on-site options are pricey. Your next option is to stay at one of the nearby partner hotels. There's loads to choose from. You've got things like the Kyriad, which is one of the more basic ones, to the l'Elysée, you have the Magic Circus, and all of these are on a complimentary shuttle bus route that runs right throughout the day from the hotels to the parks and back, and these are a lot more affordable than Disney hotels. Another option is you can stay in one of the towns nearby. So Disneyland Paris has a public transport line that runs right to the park gates. So you could stay on that line and stay one stop away at Val d'Europe, or 2 or 3 stops further down the line. You can then just hop on the train and in 5 minutes you can be at the parks. And then the last option is you might want to stay in Paris itself, in the actual city. So that brings us to number 4. Will you be visiting Paris? Disneyland Paris, like all the other Disney parks across the world, isn't actually in Paris. It's not in the city centre. In this case, Disneyland Paris is about 25 miles, 40 kilometers from the city centre. Luckily, as I mentioned earlier, the resort has its own stop on the RER train network, so you can travel from central Paris to Disneyland Paris on the train in about 35 or 40 minutes, so do consider visiting Paris as well. If you are going to be visiting Paris itself for more than one day, then we'd recommend splitting your stay, so do a few nights at Hotel Disneyland Paris and then do a night or 2 in Paris itself. Next up, 5th thing to think about is your park tickets. So you have somewhere to stay, but now you need to get into the theme parks. So if you're booking directly with Disneyland Paris, then you'll book a package. And this is going to include your hotel, it's going to include your park tickets for one price. And you can book both the official Disney hotels, but also the partner hotels that I mentioned earlier that can be quite a lot cheaper as well. And you can book that with Disneyland Paris. And if you do this, you book it with Disney, then you're set, you have your park tickets included in that price from the day you check in, even before you check in for that whole day, until the day that you check out. If you're thinking of going for more of a do-it-yourself approach, DIY, then once you booked a hotel, you can go onto Disneyland Paris' website or go onto one of the other websites that sells Disney tickets, and book your park tickets separately. Then you're going to print those out, and sometimes it works out cheaper splitting it this way than doing a package via Disney. Sometimes it's more expensive, so it's worth checking out both options. One of the nice things about doing a DIY approach is that you don't have to buy tickets for every single day. So if you're booking it yourself, you can skip buying the tickets for the days that you don't need to go into the parks. Don't wait until you get to the parks to buy your tickets. Do it online in advance. It's usually much cheaper, and you're going to save lots of time too. Lastly, if you're going to visit for more than 3 days, then you have the option of looking into an annual pass. So the next thing you want to think about is getting to the resort. So I've been lucky enough to have visited all the Disney parks around the world, and I can safely say that Disneyland Paris is the best connected by far. You've got tons of options to get there. I've mentioned you can get the RER train, which is a bit like the Underground or the Metro, and you walk out and the resort is just right in front of you. It's also a TGV stop, so the TGV is the high-speed train that goes from across France, and it drops you off right there, and it actually connects with all of Europe. So for example, if you're coming from the UK, you can get the Eurostar, and the Eurostar runs directly from London to Disneyland Paris, and it's less than 3 hours, door to door. There's obviously the option if you're coming by car. They've built motorways all the way to Disneyland Paris, and there's parking at all the Disney hotels, and they have parking at the theme parks too. And you can come by plane, of course, so you might be flying in. And if you're flying in, the main airport in Paris is Charles de Gaulle Airport, and you can get a shuttle bus to the resort, which takes about an hour, the TGV that I mentioned earlier, and that goes from the airport to Disneyland Paris in about 10 minutes. If you're coming into the other airport, Orly Airport is also well connected to Disneyland Paris. You have shuttle buses and you have the public transport as well. Next up, research the 2 parks. So if you really want to make the most of your trip, you're going to have to do some research. It's really important that you do this to make the most of your time. So I worked at Disneyland Paris for about 1.5 years, and I would see guests make the same mistakes again and again. They just turn up, and failing to plan is planning to fail. So at the very least, look through the Disneyland Paris website at the park maps and at the different rides and the shows on offer, and make a rough list of any of those you really want to do, the must-dos. And you might want to have a look at the map of the whole resort as well, so you can work out where your hotel is in relation to the parks and in relation to the Disney Village shopping and dining area, so that you have an idea where things are. And you'll definitely want to have a look and a read of how the free fast pass system works too, because this is going to save you hours. And I'd really recommend you do your research for that. So one way you can do that is with our book, our guidebook, The Independent Guide to Disneyland Paris. And we publish this every year, and this covers all the latest details and everything that I've mentioned in this video in a whole lot more detail. So we're going to look at all the Disney hotels, the partner hotels, how to get to the resort, the pricing of everything, all your ticket options. We look at every single ride and show and restaurant. We have a guide to the best and worst days to visit, all of those public holidays I was talking about. We also talk about all the seasons, how to meet the characters, how to save time in the queue lines, how to save money, guests with disabilities, things to do outside the parks. And we've also exclusively commissioned a couple of park maps so that you will be ahead of the crowds and you'll know how to make your trips so much better. It's available in both a print version and an ebook version. It's a really great way to get excited for your trip as well. Next, at number 8, you want to book your experiences. So we talked about booking your hotels and your park tickets. There's lots of little extra experiences you can book in advance. So you might want to book a meal at some of the sit-down restaurants, any character meals, any special experience packages, the photo pass system, the princess makeover experience over at Disneyland Hotel. These are some of those things. If you're going to do them, it's worth pre-booking to make sure that you can do them when you get there. Next up, get your currency. So if you're coming from outside the Eurozone, you're going to need some euros. Everywhere at Disneyland Paris takes cash, but you won't necessarily need it, as you can just use card and contactless payments pretty much anywhere. You still want to have some cash on you though. You're going to end up in a situation where you will need it. So you want a snack, you want an ice cream from one of the snack carts, and these only take cash. Or if you want to tip someone, for example, cash is best for that. If you're paying by card, do look into whether your bank is going to charge you fees every time you make a purchase. And number 10, download the Disneyland Paris app. So make sure you get the Disneyland Paris app before you get to the resort. Even in advance, it's going to help you learn about all the different things you can do there. You'll also be able to book restaurants, you can see the park opening hours, you can see the show times, and really importantly, and the main reason to have it, is you can see the wait times for all the rides in the palm of your hand. There we go, that's our list of 10 things that you need to do to plan your trip to Disneyland Paris. Now we've only really scratched the surface here, so you're going to need to go out, do your own research as well. If you've got any questions or you need help, feel free to leave a comment down below, or if there are any of these points you want us to make a separate video on in more detail, just let us know. Remember, you can check out our full guide to Disneyland Paris at independentguidebooks.com. Check the description for links to the print version of the guide, as well as the ebook version. If you get the ebook version directly from our website with the link below and use our coupon code, you're going to get a discount. With the ebook version, you're going to get a link instantly, and then you can just put it on your phone or your tablet, or you can read on your computer. It's up to you. If you want those big glossy photos, then I'm going to recommend you grab the print version. Thank you very much for watching. Feel free to check out the rest of our channel. We have lots of extra helpful videos, just like this one for Disneyland Paris and many other theme parks around the world too. Remember to like this video to help us out and subscribe too. This has been Gio for Independent Guides, and we'll see you in the next video.